Hello students, I am Snehal Ratnakar Hegiste, Associate Professor in English. I want to introduce you Compulsory English. Name of your paper is English for Business Communication. You are learning English from first standard. You have completed already 13 years for English, that you are studying English, and this is the last year that you have to study English as a compulsory subject. As a student of as a students of the commerce, you have to work in a corporate sector, business sector, and you have to communicate with people concerned with your business. So you want mastery over English. English is link language that we use in India. India is multicultural and multilingual country. In this country there are various states using various languages. So we use English as a link language. You have your Marathi as a mother tongue, Hindi as a national language, but you have to study English as a link language in such a vast country which is multilingual and multicultural. So you have to acquire skills of English. You have to acquire four skills of language. First one is a listening, second one is the speaking, and third one is reading, and last one is writing. So you are learning English from first standard, but I think that uh, while you are talking about outcome of your learning, you should judge yourself. After learning so many years, our students cannot speak properly, they cannot write correctly. So if you want to speak, you don't have confidence to speak continuously, fluently in English because you don't have practice. Then you have not learned English focusing on the skills. Our syllabus, our particularly this teaching system has given importance to exams. But language is not learned by passing only exams. You learn grammar, lessons, poems, you recite answers, write the answers in the exams, and you pass. But only passing is not learning language. So you find that after learning so many years, you don't have confidence in English, that you can speak continuously or communicate, or there will be, you will form dialogue between two persons, or you want to conduct conversation. So if you have confidence, first of all, for confidence, you have to practice. So, what is the basic function of language? Language is used for communication. Through language, we can communicate our ideas and our emotions and feelings from one person to another person. There are so many languages in the world, but we are using here, we are in India. I just told you that our country is a multilingual. Multilingual means there is not one language, one nation, one culture, but there are so many languages that are used according to state. So in this situation, we use English as a link language. Uh, Today, I have told my views on English, that the nature scope of English, that I am telling you, English is used as a link language. Before that, I told that what is the present condition of English in India. Particularly, I am talking about Maharashtra, and we are living in a rural area. No doubt our students can acquire these skills, but unfortunately, we don't get platform for communication. We don't practice. We don't get practice. Unless and until you start speaking, you cannot uh, have confidence. It is just like a learning swimming. For swimming, you have to jump into the water. You will not learn swimming standing on the bank of the river. Okay, so you have to jump in the river and then you can start swimming. In same way, if you want to study language, you have to use it. You have to speak in that language, and then you will have confidence. Don't bother about its structure and its grammar and other things. If you want to communicate uh, any ideas or emotions, try to be honest with your particularly purpose that you want to communicate. Use simple words, use simple sentences, and talk with confidence. Then you will get mastery over this language. You will practice it. After telling you all these things, uh, I want to introduce you syllabus of our paper. So our syllabus is changed last year, and our university has again focused on your speaking skills. Our syllabus is divided into two parts. One part will introduce you lessons and poems, and another one will introduce you communication skills. For semester 3, you are learning module number 1, which talks about oral skills and one poem. Second module will talk about conversation skills and one lesson and one poem. Third module will introduce you English for competitive examination and one lesson and poem. And last will again discuss you one poem and lesson. So there are 4 modules for your study. This paper will uh, cover 50 marks, and out of 50 marks you require 18 marks for passing. But my advice to you is that instead of only passing, you should take efforts to master this language, because this is the last year that you are studying English as a compulsory. So you have, this is the last chance for you to study in the classrooms, and you should not particularly careless about your study. Try to increase, develop your vocabulary. If you want to speak, you must have knowledge of the words, constructions of the words. So you have to improve, you have to develop your vocabulary, and then you will get confidence and you will get mastery. So today I want to introduce you module number 2, and uh, in this module there are 3 parts, A, B, C, and this C part talks about one poem, and that poem is written by Robert Hayden. Uh, Robert Hayden, born in 20th century, died in 20th century. So he was born in 1913 and died in 1980. He grew up in a African American section that is known as the Paradise Valley. Actually, he was adopted by a neighbor's family when he was of only 2 years old. So keep in mind, this poet has not got love of his father and mother, because they separated when he has become only of 2 years. 2 years. His adoptive father was a strict Baptist and he was a manual laborer. So keep in mind, he is adopted by a person who was a laborer. And when Robert Hayden was only of 2 years old, his parents separated. Probably there was a divorce, and this poet has not got uh, love of his father and mother. Parental love he has not got. He is adopted. Those winter Sundays. This poem is taken from Robert Hayden's collected poems of Robert Hayden. The poem is Hayden's heart wrenching domestic masterpiece. In this poem, Robert Hayden is talking about his family life, and this poem is called Domestic Masterpiece of Hayden. This poem is again a poem of a discovery and definition. The main theme of the poem is that of a parental sacrifice and duty. In this poem, we are discussing sacrifice of parents for their children. The speaker in this particular poem is recalling his past. He recalls his actions or deeds of his father. He is talking, the speaker of the poem is talking about uh, the daily work of his father in this poem, how his father used to work for their family, that is shown in this poem. This poem is divided into three parts. There are three stanzas, and in the first stanza of the poem, we find that there is a particular description of winter Sunday. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue black cold. Then, with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday, weather made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. So, first two lines of the poems talk about he fathers getting early in the morning. Early in the morning on Sundays. Sundays too. Sundays too means what here? There are how many days? 7 days in the week. Means 6 days already he is ready for his, already he is getting up for his daily work. But on Sunday, Sunday is actually holiday, but on holiday he is not taking rest. On Sundays also his father got up early and put his clothes, and how he, when he got up early at that time. What type of the season is here? Winter season, and atmosphere is cold. Put his clothes on in the blue black cold. Then poet is talking about his hard work. Hard work of the father is indicated here. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor. So these two lines tell you that the father in the poem is a laborer. Okay. From labor in the weekday. Weekday means remaining these are 6 days from Monday to Saturday. From labor in the weekday, weather made banked fires blaze. So, on every particularly Sundays, he got up early. Okay, he has not taken any rest. Continuously, he is working for his family. He is a hard worker and dutiful person, and because of this weather, what type of that weather is? Cold weather. Because what is the title of our poem? Winter Sundays. So he wants to make warmness in the house, and that's why he has banked fires blaze. So in the first stanza of the poem, we find that the speaker of the poem recalls, remembers the actions or activities of his father, who rises early each Sunday and lights the fire to make the rooms warm. In the third line of the poem, we find that with cracked hands that ached from labor, which indicates that father in the poem was hardworking a person and he was a laborer. He worked hard for his family. And in the first stanza, at the end of this first stanza, we find there is a line, no one ever thanked him. He is such a type of the dutiful and hardworking person. He takes care of his family members, but no one was taking any notice of his work. Okay, he worked hard for his family, but no one had taken notice of this selfless work. Which line indicates this one? No one ever thanked him. In the second stanza, I would wake and hear the cold splintering breaking. When the rooms were warm, he would call, and slowly I would rise and dress. Fearing the chronic angers, fearing the chronic angers of that house. This is the second stanza. In the second stanza, we find that after lighting the fire, the rooms were warm, and father would call the speaker, and then the speaker used to wake up slowly and dress. I would wake and hear the cold splintering. Splintering means what here? Splintering means breaking into small pieces. We can say that after removing the coldness, what has happened that he would wake up slowly when rooms were warm. When rooms were warm, father would call the speaker, and the speaker used to wake up slowly and dress. Thus the father used to light the fire with his cracked hands to make the rooms warm before others got up. In the last stanza, we find that this line, third stanza, begins with speaking indifferently to him who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? In the last stanza of the poem, we notice that the speaker of this particular poem is not particularly uh, taking any notice of his father's hard work and his unspoken love. We find that his father even polished shoes of his son. But son in the poem has not taken notice of this unspoken love of the father. But in the course of the time, what happens? The last lines of the poem that indicate last two lines. What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? Austere means here simple and strict in attitude. Simple and strict in attitude means father's love is not showy. Father has not shown, he has not used any words or promptness to show his love. He is very simple person and strict in his attitude. And at the end of the poem, son recognizes his father's simple uh, love, which is unspoken, lonely offices. Offices means here again we can say his work of the father. Offices means here not any office in that sense of the word. Offices means the activities done by father for the family, and these activities are lonely because we find that father is working for, or he is devoting his whole life for the comfort of the family members. So, in this poem, we find that the son was indifferent to his father. Indifferent means without any interest. The son has not shown any love or affection towards his father. We find that son was indifferent to his father, but son becomes aware. At the end of the poem, we find that son has become aware of his father's love and his selfless attachment to family very late in his life, and he regrets his misbehavior. So, in this way, Robert Hayden in this poem is focusing on the uh, father son relationship. We are living in a 21st century. This world is very fast changing, and now we find in these families relationships. uh, Particularly, we are living in India. No doubt, our poet is African American, but here also in Indian situation, we find that our uh, moral values are changing. We have to respect, we have to take care of our parents, and we have to show affection and love because our parents are selfless. They have lot of love and affection, and they live only and only for our children, and they want success and comfort of their children. So what is the duty of the children? That you have to be uh, you have to take care, you have to respect your parents. That is the message of this poem. We find that life of our poet at the early age, when this poet was only of 2 years old, he has his parents had separated, and he is uh, adopted by another person who was a laborer. Still, that laborer has given, that uh, adoptive father has given him chance to complete his career. So, in this simple poem that covers only that this poem is of only 14 lines. There are three stanzas with minimum words. Writer has become successful to convey his message, and this message is very important for us. I think you have enjoyed this poem written by Robert Hayden, Those Winter Sundays. Very beautiful poem giving you message and talking about father-son relationship, which is very important in the present situation, which talks about duties of the children also. So, main theme in this particular poem, we find that main theme of the poem is that of a parental sacrifice. Here we find father's sacrifice. He has shown his duty and his hard work towards his family, and we find that no doubt speaker of the poem has no doubt at the end of the poem he has recognized, he has become aware of his father's unspoken love, and that is a positive point here. I think you have to read same poem. Such a type of the theme is handled by Dilip Chitre in his poem Father Returning Home. Uh, Please visit library, and if you get this poem, you should read it, enjoy it. The poem written by Dilip Chitre, Indian poet writing in English, and name of that poem is Father Returning Home. So I want to stop here. In the next lecture, we will discuss next part of this module number 2. Thanking you.